Once we have our SPSS output, there are some key pieces of information we want to take a look at. While the first table gives us a summary in terms of what variables were entered and how it was done, there you can see that the variables were entered correctly and nothing was removed. The second table gives us a summary of how strong the relationship is by looking at the R value. This is 0.175. Not a very, very high value. And the R squared value is 0.03, meaning only 3% of Y is accounted for by X, or only 3% of our Y variable is related to our X variable. Next, we'll go down and take a look at the coefficients table. This is what is going to drive our equation for the line of best fit. Now keep in mind, the scatter plot had a line of best fit, or a line that is used to fit the pattern of the graph. Each scatter plot and each line of best fit has an individual equation that gives the exact location of this graph. The equation does appear on the graph when we created it. You can see here, y equals 17.2 minus 0.21x. But let's take a look at what that means and what each part of the equation is. We can also obtain this information here in the coefficients box of our SPSS output. First, we have this value, constant. We look for the row that says constant, and then we look for the coefficient under the B column, 17.20. This is my y-intercept. If I look at the graph, 17.2 is where that graph hits the y-axis. We can interpret this as the y value right here when x is 0. So in this case, if a student got 0 questions correct, we would expect them to spend about 17.2 seconds on each question. X is 0, y is this value. You may see this in the equation as well. 17.2 is the number all by itself. The second part of the equation is the slope, negative 0.21. You may also see this in the coefficients table where it gives the x variable name. In this case, the number correct was the x variable. You will not always see the word correct here. It will be whatever your particular x variable is. This slope value, negative 0.21, tells us the rate of change, or in this case, for every question or every increase in 1 unit on the x-axis, every 1 question the student increases getting correct, we expect the time to drop or decrease, because it's negative, by 0.21 seconds. So when you look at your equation, remember it has 2 parts, y-intercept, the number alone, and slope, the number with the x. This can also be obtained from your coefficients table. Constant is your y-intercept, and the row with your x variable name gives you the slope value.